Hi, everybody, and welcome one more time to El Camino People, the podcast. I know that the intro was the intro in Spanish, but my mistake has been so long since I recorded an episode that I forgot and I put the wrong intro. But we are back. We are back with the third season. Now is the end of summer of 2022. It's been an incredible summer. A lot of people talking about the Camino. The last 100K to the Camino has been crazy, but we've seen that the numbers in the rest of the Camino, the long distance, have dropped down. So a lot of to think about, a lot of to discuss about what is going on with the Camino de Santiago right now and with the rest of the Caminos in Europe. And today we're going to talk with two amazing pilgrims that one day walked the Camino de Santiago and then they decided to take it a step further. They decided to walk the Via Francigena and they're doing a study about it. So let me introduce you to our guest today. Hi, Chiara. Hi, Gabriel. How are you doing? Grazie
Hello,
mille.
grazie a te.
We are very good. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, it's super cool to be able to speak with another pilgrim and to speak about our experience. So we are very happy.
It's amazing. It's one of the things that I found out that during these years, one of the things that, we're coming out from COVID, we're opening up. It was, I guess, probably with you was the same. Things are going back to normal. We were wondering 2 years ago, with the Camino, with all the Caminos go back to normal. And we are seeing that now it's increased. I'm like, people are more going outside, people are more willing to hike, people are more needing to go. And also the pilgrim community, I think, all this time and that we have spent online instead of being outside, drinking beer or hiking has make a huge community of hikers and backpackers and pilgrims from all over the world.
Yeah,
Definitely. We started our first Camino after COVID, and one of the motivations was COVID. So we totally agree.
I think it's the impact of the third wave. Like, oh, there is people that decide they want to stay inside and they don't want to go out anymore, or they decide that they want to exchange, do stuff that they always thought about it, but they never did it. And yeah, I think a lot of people started the Camino because they want to meet new people and exchange and do new stuff. And that was our case as well.
I agree 100%. So I always ask, to everybody, I'm like, Gabriel, you are from France, you, Chora, you are from Italy. But
Yeah.
how did you find out about the Camino de Santiago? For me, I always say the same story. The Camino is like right here. I'm like there in front of my house. Pilgrims go through my house every day. It's a blessing, but I also hate it because I'm not walking with them. So how was with you? You been from France? Who you been from Italy? How and when did you discover about the Camino de Santiago?
So I start and Gabriel concludes because it's a very weird story. But I was like the idea was I was in a dinner with my parents and a friend of them, and they were talking about the Camino. It was just June after the 3 years, 2 years of COVID, and they started talking about that. And I said, I didn't know what to do in summer because I finished my exam and everything. And I said, yes, I want to do that. I want to do the Camino this year, and I wanted to do it by myself. I said I have to go and try to a bit release all this year of COVID and kind of close the chapter and restart. Then with Gabriel, we were hanging out a bit, and I said to Gabriel, "Oh, I'm going to France, and then I'm going on the Camino de Santiago." And then when we arrived to France, basically I arrived with Gabriel, and Gabriel asked me, "Oh, can I come with you for one day?"
For one
And
day.
yeah.
Basically, I'm gonna jump on it. Me, I always known the Camino. My mom did it. She did
Okay.
the French. She walked until Conques, and she loved the Camino. And always, I grew up with my mom speaking to me about the Camino and all those stories. But it was something for me, a bit that I would never do. It was not my thing. And me, I was madly in love with Chiara for 3 years, but it was not reciprocal. It was,
Oh.
and
No,
and and so we were staying together as friends and a bit more. But she came to France, and then I said to her, "Please, Chiara, can I come just for one day on the Camino with you?" So I just
Like I'm
took
gonna
some.
I'm gonna give it all in one day. I need to convince this girl just to fall in love
Yeah,
with me. Good
exactly.
plan.
Um, then so basically we did Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, Roncesvalles. The first step
Hmm.
for the people that knows, it's a difficult
It
step.
is a hard day, yes.
Yeah.
And so we did this step, and me, I had only stuff for 1 day, and we did this step. And then at the end of this step, Chiara said to me, "You can stay another day." And then every day it was another day. And me, I was supposed to go to a wedding. And so I said to her, "Okay, but I have to go to this wedding on this date. It's after 1 week." And then after 1 week, she said to me, "You can stay the whole month if you want, the whole way." And then I said, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna call the wedding and I'm gonna say I cannot go." And we stayed together this whole month, and we decided to stay together. And since this time, we are in a couple. And
Oh,
yeah, maybe it's the magical side of the Camino. And for me, it was very important. I knew that if I would come, for someone like me that is struggling to really show who I am, my real side, my good side and my bad side, I thought that an adventure like that you are the closest to yourself, was very good to really show who I was. And if she didn't accept me like that, it meant that it wasn't meant to be, and she really knew who I was. And at the end, we really found each other. Like, you can find yourself on a Camino, but you can find as well someone else, I guess.
I guess at the end you find yourself, because yourself right now is just the two of you together, no? So,
Yeah.
and how do you know each other? Because we're people, I'm like, you've been friends for 3 years, but you are from France, you are from Italy. What is the story prior to the Camino?
So we both studied in London. So we
Okay.
met in London because we studied the same thing in the same university. But Gabriel is 1 year below me. So me, I just graduated, but he has still 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
you
that's
became friends in college, and being
Yeah.
outsiders in London, you're part of the expat community over there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we met in the student bar. And the first time we talked, the first time we went on a date, we spoke about hiking a lot, because I really like hiking and Chiara really likes it. And so this is the first interaction, the first connection we had. It was about hiking. And then a few years after, we just got to the
So
Camino.
what's, Chiara, we heard the story from Gabriel, but what it was for you? Suddenly you have this friend that is coming with you for a day, and then he's holding in your back, and he wants to stay another day. And it was your Camino, it was your time for yourself. So what was going on there?
Yeah, so like me, I totally agreed for him to come. Like me, I went to France, I visited him, we spent time together. And then of course, like by being a solo pilgrim and a female, I was a bit scared as well.
Okay.
So I found like, yeah, maybe it's cool, to have someone the first day as well. It's nice. And I think what is the most important thing of the Camino, and I think is a special thing of the Camino, is that on the Camino you have to show, since you suffer, you sweat, like you are yourself,
There's no way
And
to
so
hide anything. Everything will come out one day, or one way or the other.
Exactly. And so I think what we were struggling to communicate to each other, it was our real, you have a lot of mass, you have a lot of walls. When you are in a normal, like in a daily life, that you see each other maybe once a week, And I think the Camino, staying 24/7 together, sweating, walking, being stressed and nervous because you never arrive. And so I like that. And I think I discovered him and he discovered me, and it was a good surprise.
And
So Gabriel told us that Gabriel, you were in love already, and she wasn't, reciprocal yet. When was the moment that you thought in the Camino? Was there a moment that you can remember that, like, maybe this guy, I'm gonna give it a try. Maybe this is gonna be a longer, or there wasn't any specific moment. It was just something that happened.
No, it was for sure the first day.
The first
because
day? Okay.
Yeah.
the first day, when I thought I was really in my world, and I was like, that's my only day, I need to enjoy and everything. So I was not even thinking about the approbation of Chiara. I'm here, it's amazing, it's an amazing walk. And then Chiara was very tired because we didn't eat.
Yeah, because we thought there was COVID, so everything was closed, and we thought we would find some cafe, some bar on the way, but of course on the Pyrenees there is nothing. And so basically we started walking. We said, okay, let's not stop at the fort, and it was the only bar. Let's not stop there. And so we did the whole Pyrenees, like, I don't know, we took so much time without eating. And me arrived to arrive to Roncesvalles, I was eating vitamin C because I was totally... I was starving so much, but yeah, I think that was a good beginning.
And on the top, she said to me, "I love you," but I didn't know how to take it.
So you don't know, it was just the love, like a friend, like you support me, you take me all the way to the top, or a love, I really love you, no?
Yeah, exactly. So me, and especially like I really thought she was a bit angry at me because you could see like that she was tired and everything. She was barely speaking to me, and then out of nowhere there is a "I love you" that comes out, and then she said, "Oh, you can stay," but the thing with Chiara is that and what I love about her is that it's someone very independent. So I said to her, you can say any days that you can that I need to go exactly, and that we need to separate or something like that. So I didn't know if I would arrive to Santiago, which was. And then in the Via Francigena, there's been a different experience, but a bit similar to that. And I didn't know if I would arrive to Santiago. So for every day for me was a new day and was day by day by day by day by day. And that's really helped me in my adventure because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't like.
Yeah, Gabriel, like after 2 weeks, he said, but we are in the north of Spain. He didn't even realize we were in the north of Spain.
That's what love does to one. I'm like, just follow someone to wherever she takes you, whatever you go in. And also, I'm
Yeah,
like, did you have any, I'm like, your luggage, your clothing, because you were for just one
that's
day. So,
that's the beauty of it as well. I packed for one day, and it tells you that in a pilgrimage you need only clothes for one day. I packed for 2 days actually. I packed for the day and the day to come back, and it was two pair of socks, two shorts, two t-shirts, a backpack, and it's exactly what you need on a pilgrimage. So it's funny, like if I would pack for 2 days, or if I would pack for 1 month, or for 3 months, like we did with Kara, it's gonna always be the same.
Yeah.
what about your
And
family and friends? And like, suddenly you go for one day, also money wise. I'm like, you plan for a one day, then suddenly you're on a 30 days trip in Spain with someone that they may love, that you love, but you know the story. I'm like,
yeah, my mom, she cried.
of
Yeah, my
happiness or sadness, or both, a little.
sorry.
Of happiness or sadness?
No, of happiness. She cried a lot because her it's her life, and she couldn't do it anymore. And so for her, I was her eyes. And every time I'm on a pilgrimage, it's like I take her in my backpack with me. And so yeah.
That's so
Mhm.
cool. And how was the Camino? How was the experience of, for two friends suddenly becoming a couple and then arriving into Santiago?
I think, well, yeah, I'm sure that when you are a couple, like you already have like a kind of body, So like
Yeah.
you lose a bit of you lose maybe some meetings from the Camino that you would do if you are alone, because you need other people
Hmm.
and you're alone, so you necessarily look for people. But I found it very interesting because I think like every day is I don't know, is different, and you have time to talk, you have time to, I don't know, you also discover how the other person challenges, like how he reacts to challenges, and yeah, I don't know, I think it's very deep to do it with someone else. It's very hard because
Hmm.
of course we have different kind of limits, we have different habits, we have different strengths, and like me, I'm the one who says, okay, I cannot make it anymore, and him is like, no, but it's not true, you can make it, and he say, no, I cannot make it, like all the way like that.
Every day.
No,
So he
not
was the
every.
one pushing you,
Yeah, exactly.
and you were the one pushing him till the end, till you gave the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And
I
how?
find, yeah, sorry.
No, no, go, sorry, go ahead.
No. I say just that I find it very, like, it's very hard, but I think it's very good because you can share lots of moments together. And me, I always traveled alone. That's why I wanted to do it alone. And then I really realized that, like, you really, and I don't know, there is something different when you share moments with someone else. And yeah, so it was good.
And you're both as anthropology students, no?
Yes.
So for the anthropology point of view, and we always, and I believe, that's why we created the El Camino. It's about the people. I think pilgrimage are about the people, the stories, and with all the people, we have hikes. No, there's a lot of long distance hikes, and we have some other different trails that they have something different. The Via Francigena, the Camino, Cumano Codo. I'm like, some people go to this one, some people go to the PCT in the States, or some people do the Inca Trail, but they have a total different vibe in it. No, what did you find out on the Camino? For you being students, and also with your whole anthropological thing going on, what did you find out about the Camino de Santiago and the people?
I can go.
Yeah.
Me, I felt like a feeling of community that I didn't feel a lot in my life. Like I've been raised that, okay, you have the adult and you have the children and this. And I felt that in the Camino, there were like no barrier anymore. You could speak to any form of age. And that there were a community and that we were just humans. And yeah, there is a strong sense of community. And
yeah, I think what is anthropological, I think, is very interesting, is the whole process of the pilgrimage. Like I feel like, I don't know, then because before going, I already studied some. I was very interested into pilgrimages, and so I had this idea in mind of these anthropologists that then, from which we got the name as well, walking liminality. And this anthropologist was very interested in the pilgrimage as like a starting point, then a whole process, and the end. And during the whole process, basically the person goes through processes, like it transforms itself. And I feel that's the most interesting part of the pilgrimage, because by meeting people, by staying with nature, I don't know, kind of meditating, because they say that walking is a kind of meditation. I think like one kind of see his whole life and try to understand what really matters in its life. And so when the pilgrimage ends, like maybe for like the 50% of people, there is a new beginning and a new like life changes, I say, okay, I'm gonna go home. I don't like this person. I realize that I'm not gonna hang out with him. I don't need anymore so many clothes, because I went on the Camino and I needed only 2 t-shirts. And so I think this whole process is very interesting anthropologically.
And what, I always ask everybody, when you start the Camino, you're one person. I really, truly believe, like you say, that when you finish, you're a different person. What did it change in you both when, you, Chiara and Gabriel, when you start the Camino and when you finish, other than being a couple?
You go?
go.
Well, I think well, for sure, for me, it was the thing of like challenging myself a lot, of like in my life and in the Camino and whatever. Me, I always think that I cannot make it, and then the Camino, you realize that you can do 40 kilometers, be like, I don't know, at the 20 you can be totally tired and exhausted, but then you can do other 20. So that the limits that you impose to yourself are not your real limits, and you can, like, it's all a kind of mindset that you have to switch, like from I can't do it to I can do it. This is what personally especially as well with the Via Francigena, which was a longer period of time, and so my mechanism, I had to adapt like lots of times, and so yeah.
And for you, Gabriel?
Me, I realized that it was possible to travel, but not with the train. That you could, like, it's very empowering. It gives you a lot of power, because you realize that you can totally believe in yourself and in your body and go to one place to another just thanks to yourself. And this is the thing I like the most. And as well, I realized that you can really get along with people you think you wouldn't get along. And the thing as well I realized the most is that it's very important to say hello to people, to say, like, it changed a day. Honestly, you start and you say Buon Camino and you feel already, because this is, you break barriers constantly. you break the barrier of age, you break the barrier of a lot of stuff, and just to see people and say Bon Camino, for me it's made me happy. And so I try to say hello to people, to give a smile, to try to break those kind of social barriers that doesn't exist in the Camino. And a lot of people say, oh, the Camino is a bit this paradise world or alternative world. For me, it should be the world like that, because it's so simple. Just to say a hello, just to ask a question, just to go to someone, and yeah.
I agree. Sometimes, we talk about that and we say that the Camino is like a bubble. Now that it's not real life, and right now it's not real life. I'm like, the Camino can be a social experiment, but it happens, and I agree, like that a lot of the things that we happen in the Camino we can take back to our normal day. The saying hello, the smile. Of course, no, we're not gonna be every day so simple as wake up,
Yeah.
breakfast, walk, beer, and repeat. But a lot of those things can be taken back into normal life, and
Yeah.
and I think that's the real process of a pilgrim, taking whatever you learn from the pilgrimage and put
Yeah.
those little things. And same buen camino, hola, hi, whatever, and a smile to someone. That's something you can do on your everyday.
Yeah.
Yeah. As well, from an anthropological perspective, like the pilgrimage has to have an end, otherwise it doesn't have the same effects.
Yeah.
So.
And this is what.
And
Yeah, this
sorry,
is
go
where
ahead.
the liminality comes from. This is an in-between space, actually. Like, there is the pilgrim before that has his life. There is the pilgrimage, that is this time of where there is the process of change and everything. And then there is the end. And the liminality can come only if there is this before and after, and in the middle. But it has to have a beginning and a stop. And this is
And
why.
when did this project come out? I'm like, when you go on the Camino de Santiago, did you have in mind something like this liminality? For the ones that don't know, is your project that you walked the Via Francigena, researching, what was the motivation and the background, of humans and pilgrimage and why they are so common and what they are growing so fast lately. And we've seen that right now there is pilgrimage all over. We have now in Spain, as we were talking, the Camino de Santiago has many caminos now, but also we have the Camino Ignaciano, we have a lot of caminos that they're not even pilgrimage. We have the Camino dos Faros, but we also have the Ruta Vicentina, and in Italy we have the Via Francigena, the Camino de Francesco, la Via Lauretana. When did you decide about this project? Was it during the Camino? Was it after the Camino?
It was way after the Camino, because I remember when we finished the Camino, like we were very tired, but after 1 week we missed walking, and we were like, okay, 1 week, everything, we forgot everything, all the suffering, everything, and then we already missed it. And then we started reasoning, and we started thinking like, but it's incredible, all the stories we shared with people, we heard from people, like someone should do something about, like, I don't know, sharing stories of the Camino, because as well, I think the stories are very significant of what the pilgrimage represents for people in general. And so where I live is on the Via Francigena, of the south though.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started, I don't know, from one thing to the other. And so we said, it would be cool to do the Via Francigena. And we were saying, oh, it's my dream, but it's so much time, And then Gabriel started studying this liminality and this anthropology that I studied 1 year before. And he said, oh, but this is so interesting. I remember you were telling me that. And so basically all the things combined all in once. And we said, but why don't we go on the Via Francigena 3 months and we interview pilgrims and we try to kind of test this theory of these anthropologists and try to explain why more and more people do pilgrimages. And this is how... I don't remember a particular moment.
Why the Via Francigena? I'm like, with so many other hikes, trails, pilgrimages coming from the Camino de the Camino de Santiago. Why the Via Francigena?
Because it seems that this road is made for us. Honestly, we both study in England.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm from France, and we pass from Switzerland, which is as well which speaks French, and then we go to Italy. Yes. So it seems that this road is made for us, and there is this idea of a pilgrimage to walk from one place to your home. Mm-hmm. And so we thought that it would be amazing to walk to our home, to the home of Chiara, and and we crossed a bit some places that felt like home. England was our home because we lived there together. France was my home because I lived there, and Italy is the home of Chiara. So yeah, it just felt it was meant to be.
And also, I think because the Via Francigena now is getting more like public, like a lot of people start doing it. But now that we did it, we realized that not not all the Via Francigena, but especially in Italy, there are people. But so we found it interesting because there would have been like maybe like in I don't know, in 3 years it's gonna be packed as the Camino and very touristic Camino. And so we found it interesting that it was kind of new, but still there were people.
Because what did you find out? Like, would you already walk in the Camino de Santiago, even during COVID, there was probably a lot of people. But what were the similarities and differences between the Camino de Santiago and the Via Francigena?
You go?
Go.
Okay, a lot. Like we realized when doing the Via Francigena, of course. But first of all, I remember as well by speaking with people we met on the Via Francigena, because most of them did the Camino. And in the Camino, everything is done for pilgrims. So it's like a kind of miniature world for pilgrims. So you have bar for pilgrims, you have hostels for pilgrims, you have the Menù del Pellegrino, you have everything for pilgrims. Well, on the Via Francigena, especially the part until Italy, we really...
No. Like we were in Canterbury very hyped, and I go speak to two guys that look a bit at us. I'm like, oh, okay, they know what I'm about to do. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna speak to them, and I say to them, yeah, how are you guys? Do you know the Via Francigena? And they look at me and say, no, what is that? What is a pilgrimage? And then I explained them, and it was nice. And then from England, France, Switzerland, we had to explain what was the Via Francigena to people. We had to explain what we were doing, and it was a total different vibe. We didn't meet a lot of pilgrims. Maybe until Italy, we met maybe 10 pilgrims in total.
10?
Yeah.
10. Wow. While people that does the Camino de Santiago, they know that they're gonna meet 20 people during the day.
At least.
At least, yeah.
And so...
As well, like facilities on the whole France, we didn't find... Like, for example, we were like villages, there was no supermarket, nothing. Like, for 100 kilometers, we couldn't find anywhere to eat because people go only to big supermarkets, which are in between cities. For, I don't know, 100 kilometers, we couldn't find anything, just a little van which was giving baguettes to the... was driving and giving baguettes to all the houses, and fortunately we got it. And so it was very, very hard. Like, I found it maybe the more kind of the experience was more authentic, like kind of old pilgrimage with
like going into the unknown, no?
Yes, exactly. And
because did you plan anything, or were you just going, with the flow, whatever happens?
With the flow.
Yeah.
The whole 3 months, were you with a backpack? Did you sleep in bed and breakfast in...
Yeah, exactly. We decided not, because before the Camino, and this was before the Camino, I got hurt to my leg.
Okay.
And I didn't know if I would be able to walk the whole way. So every day was a new day, but we decided to don't use the tent because we thought that it was better to rest well at night for my leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as well, if you have a tent necessary, you don't meet a lot. Like, this was our photo. Or you don't meet a lot of people because you meet people in the hostels. But then the whole France, there were no hostels for pilgrims.
But nevertheless, it was interesting because it's a lot of people that host you to their place. Often it's older people. It's quite religious, so it can be related to the church. And they host you, they make you eat, and they make you a breakfast. And it's interesting because often it's people that didn't travel, and they travel through pilgrims. Like, I'm wondering, because there is pilgrims from America, from Spain, from South America, and they go there, and it's people that speak only French. And so it's funny because I was thinking, if I wouldn't speak French, how could we communicate? And then I see on the book that where people let word and they say, oh, amazing, nice with Madame Antoinette, we laugh all night. And I'm like, how is it possible that they laugh all night? And it tells you that there is a universal language with pilgrim and with people, and it's amazing, and it creates something else that you cannot have in the Camino de Santiago.
Yeah, I think the good thing about the French part of the Via Francigena, and that you cannot find on the Camino de Santiago, is the connection, like that there is not only pilgrims but also hosts, and the hosts are kind of pilgrims because they travel with your stories. And for example, we went to a monastery in France of enclosure nuns, so they were and there was only one nun who had the access to the public. And she never left that place since 40 years. And she said, me, I travel like in Australia, I travel in New Zealand, I travel in the Philippines because I met so many people. And every time with their stories, I travel.
But that's the truth. That is the power of the people and their stories. And, that's the whole thing of this podcast and this whole West and this program. Like, there is a lot of people that listening to this. There's a lot of people that get encouraged. And as you were saying, there will be one day that the three of us probably wouldn't be walking. I'm like, there will be one day, but as you were saying, listening others' stories and helping and giving that is just part of the pilgrimage also.
Definitely, and it's them that makes your, like, we went to a bar, and there is this girl that is actually famous because by all the pilgrims, because of the energy she gives and everything, and it's kind of, you have to stop there. She's very nice, and us, we didn't know because we didn't plan. But then we've seen that there is a lot of words about her, that there is even the television that comes to her because of that. And there is like a whole life that has been created around pilgrims, but as well around people that host pilgrims. And yeah, we met a lot of surprising people. Like, we got hosted by a couple of maybe 70 years old that decided to walk a lot of pilgrimage, Santiago 10 times maybe, the Via Francigena 2 times. They walk as well to Jerusalem. And then their way of traveling was just to go and knock to the door. And imagine at 60, 70 years old, they were doing that. And us, we felt a bit guilty because we're going in hotels and everything, in hostels. And then they were saying, yeah, if we don't eat tonight, it's fine. It's like that. And then we walked 35 kilometers a day. But everyone has his vision of pilgrimage. And we met a lot of unusual people like that. By us.
What's the motivation of the people that you met? You were saying a lot of you more religious. We know that the Camino right now, a lot of people go for non-religious options, but in the Via Francigena, the religious motivation is still one of the main ones.
Yeah,
I think for a lot of people, yes, especially in France, like me, like we say, like now there is a crisis in believers and Catholicism and everything, but we really discovered that a lot of people are still very believer,
especially in those parts. Yeah.
Yes, and it was interesting though to see their motivations and everything because, we were studying that as well. So
because us, we left and we said, okay, pilgrimages is not about religion. And we even received a text by someone, a very interesting text, and he said that, you have to be careful when you say that a lot of people don't do it for religious reason. You have to be careful because it's not the case. A lot of people, and then he explained his point, and we received his point, and it was interesting, and we met a lot of people that were doing it for religious reason. But as well, what changed with the Camino de Santiago is that the Via Francigena, because it's longer, there is people that does it as well for a bet, and that does it for a physical performance. And they are saying, okay, I want to walk and I want to show to my family I'm able to do it. Or they are a huge fan of hiking. So there is, because I feel in the Camino de Santiago, a lot of people does it for spirituality. There is this thing in the Via Francigena that a lot of people does it for the pleasure of hiking, the pleasure of walking. And when we asked them, and when we were a bit expecting for some spiritual answers, and some crazy stories that we can hear on the Camino de Santiago, we had some stories like that. But mainly, a lot of people were saying, I like walking. If it's something I like, and
But I think in any case, in this kind of answer, there is something particular about walking
that's true.
that maybe you don't perceive, but you are doing a spiritual journey anyway, because you are walking in some ways inside yourself, because staying by yourself in nature for hours and hours is impossible, that you don't have any connection to yourself.
Also, for me, what I found out, and I always said, I know that a lot of people go to the Camino de Via Francigena just for the fun, just as tourists. But as you keep walking and you get, 15, 30 days, there is no way that that there is just, a walk. It's
Yeah,
something much deeper. Call it whatever you want. But I believe that if you want to do just a hike, you go to the ER, you go to the
yeah,
PCT, you go to just a trail, because it's so more beautiful. I'm like, really, the Camino de Santiago has horrible places. It's really easy for lodging and for food, but I'm like, it's much more beautiful to hike in the Pyrenees or to hike, in the Alps. But why people go there? The Via Francigena, as we said, in France is hard, it's expensive, it is
yeah.
Yeah,
difficult.
It's
So why
difficult.
people keep going to these places? There has to
It's
be something deeper. I don't know.
for sure. Me, I totally agree.
Yeah, we had a lot of interesting stories as well.
But also, I think there is because there is something as well about nature. There is some the feelings that walking give you at the end of the day is something addictive for me. Like you walk the whole day, and then we read a lot of things about the green of the environment, the green relax yourself, and your body release stress, the smell, the hair and everything. Like you arrive at the end of the day, you can have, I don't know, me, a lot of times I was very tired. I arrive at the end of the day and I'm super okay. Or I had a sore throat at the start, and after 2 days, because of walking, it goes away. Because I think it kind of rebalance your body. There is something, I don't know, biochemical about walking, I
Something
think.
happens. I agree with you. That will be also a great topic because why so many people like us? You do a walk and then you need another one and you need another one. What is why? I was reading today an article with someone that is really famous in the community. I was saying, how there's also all these gurus of the new neo that all these coaches and blah blah blah, but I'm like the Camino's always been look and walking and the connection between nature, faith, believe, whatever, call yourself, it's been always been there. But why there's so many people that keep coming back to this kind of experiences? No.
it's it's interesting, but me, I felt almost that it was like a form of like a drug. You take it the first time,
Yeah.
They say.
it's a virus, but me, almost like when you are looking for. I mean, I never experienced drugs like that. I prefer to say, but it's like almost like you are trying to experience the first time you had this drug. Like on the Via Francigena, there were not a single day that we're not saying, oh, that looks a bit like the Camino de Santiago. How this encounter was a bit like in the Camino de Santiago. This walk remind me a bit of the walk we did to go to Pamplona. Oh, this abbey was like that. And it seems almost that you are trying to reconnect. And maybe it's like that in life as well. But very often we're trying to reconnect with memories we had from our first walk. And maybe the next we're going to try to reconnect it with what we experienced in the Via Francigena. And always like that, maybe.
Me, I think as well is I think the Camino is the kind of opposite of how our world works. So you go slow, you just care about your needs, you don't have external problems. As Gabriel says, you say hi to everyone, you eat all together, random people, yeah, come eat with us. You drink all together. There is everything, I think, what humans need. But our society kind of went on the opposite way, and I think sometimes we have to come back on the Camino, remind ourselves these things, and go back to society a bit recharged,
Yeah.
And so I think people a lot of times, they have I don't know, they start the Camino because they have a burnout, and so they have a burnout, they do the Camino, they come back, maybe they quit their job or maybe not, because so they restart walking, then they say, okay, I'm about to have a burnout again, I go on the Camino before it happens. So it kind of gives this kind of whole process to society, you know. I do the Camino, I recharge myself, I come back, and I start working. At least I'm refreshed. Because we met lots of people who were saying that I needed a break from my work. I needed
I do it once a year.
I needed to break from my family. I do it once a year because otherwise my work is too stressing, too stressful.
Thousands of stories.
And
like
I think
that.
is I don't know, me, I really, especially on the Via Francigena, I really found, I don't know, humanity, you know, something that I don't find in the normal life. Like people were asking to you without interest, do you want to come over for a coffee, you know? And it's something that gives you joy, you know?
Yeah.
And I think
But a while ago, I was listening to a talk with a priest. He's now the Bishop of Vitoria, and he was saying, when the Camino on these hikes becomes something that you need every day to get out of your normal day, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is that, you were saying it's a drug that you need and is just to giving you that shot to get back? So how can we really live in a normal day without the Camino or the Camino? I'm like, for me, I don't have an answer. I'm like, but it's true, when you need, as you were saying, Chiara, that, like people go, and it's true, we need this, and it's a way of escape sometimes. And so, are we running away from the normal days, or are we just looking for something, like a sport or something? I don't know.
well, I think a lot of people try to escape, but I don't see it as necessarily a bad thing. I think holidays, like we studied a lot before going, the difference with what is the difference between tourism and a normal, like a tourism pilgrimage, and tourists who go on holiday. You need a break in any case. Like there is holidays because you need a break to your normal routine. And so there is some people who prefer pilgrimage because maybe they want to dig in more in themselves and like this kind of experience. But there is people who just go to the Maldives and enjoy staying on a beach all day. And I think it's something not necessarily bad. Of course, it doesn't have to become an addiction that you have to escape from your normal life by doing pilgrimages. But I mean, if it works, why not?
Totally. And what did you find out about your project? You walk in Liminality. Is that did you find out what you were wondering, or was something different?
What do you think, you?
So I think we started with lots of ideas that we got from the Camino, and we arrived on the Via Francigena, and by interviewing people, we realized that I think the Via Francigena, for example, as you said, there is not so many people doing it for spiritual reasons. And we interview, I think, lots of people, and we got a lot of stories, and I think it's very hard to just have one answer because so many people do it for different reasons that we try to find a common line of thoughts, but not a specific answer, because I think it's impossible to reduce all the stories to one.
Because there is on internet, you find a lot of data. 80% of the people does it for non-religious reason. 60, but like those data often are taken from the hostels with people that arrives after 30 kilometers of walk, and they have to say, "Oh, do you do it for religious?" It's very complicated because there is people that are ashamed as well to say that they are doing a Camino for a religious reason. So it's fascinating because you realize that those data are not really accurate when you are in a work like the Via Francigena. And when you dig in as well, like someone is going to say, "Oh, I do it for walk." And then when you dig in, you realize that there is something else. Or when someone says, "Oh, I do it for religious reason," or "I do it for non-religious reason," then there is someone who said, "Oh, finally, I believe a bit about something." Or it's the more we realize that it's very personal, like the Camino, because us, we really started and we said, okay, the Camino is like that. You go because you need change, you come back, you're a better person, you live a nice experience, and the Camino is not religious anymore. And really, we don't do Caminos for religious reason. And really, when we came back from this work, we realized, we generalized and we spoke too early. And it exists people that does it for religious reason, and there is other point of view, and so yeah,
yeah, I think now our idea right now would be to just share the stories, different stories, not to give okay, the answer is that no.
We still want to speak about liminality because it's important for us, and we think that in any case we think the pilgrimage is a liminal space because it's a time that someone is taking for himself, and there is his life before and there will be a life after it. But we don't want to say we don't want to put a case to put them in a box or something like that.
So after all of this, what is waiting for you next? What is your plans?
Okay, so right now we are trying to save all the images, and we are looking for sponsors and production because we did a crowdfunding, but like with all the way we didn't expect it was so expensive, and so now we have very low funds. But and so we are trying to apply for some sponsors and some
grants for production,
exactly.
because we really want a good documentary, and we want to documentary that explains this experience of the Camino, that you can understand it only if you do it. And often we find that the documentaries are struggling the documentaries that we've seen struggle to really show the importance of the Camino. So we want to do something informative, but as well ludic, that we can look and find it interesting. And so
yeah, and as well, me, I really believe that the Camino could save a lot of people. Like, I really believe in the power of the Camino, especially nowadays. So I think
basically the documentary will focus on the way we realize as well a lot about climate change, because we met a lot of agriculture and we realized like the documentary is gonna be based on our experience and on the power of walking for mental health and the stories of people. And the stories of people. And then we would like to do a part as well on because we crossed a river in Italy where there were no water anymore. We spoke with a lot of agriculture, and they were like we had a lot of testimonies and everything. So the documentary would like to be based on mental health, the stories of people, of course, and pilgrimages in general, and agriculture
and climate change.
It's amazing. What can do people to help you finish your project and support you?
Any producer, or filmmaker, because we don't have lots of knowledge in filmmaking, and so in video making to kind of assemble all the footage we have.
Yeah, mainly to be produced and to be helped for the video editing, mainly that, and to find people with the same spirit as us and that are interested about the project and that think that we can do something different, and that make people aware about the power of walking and the power of pilgrimages, and do something different, do a documentary that promote as well because we are young and we want to show that it's possible to do to travel, because a lot of people don't travel, and we want to show that it's from one day to another you can take a backpack and you can travel. And we want to show as well with this documentary that it's not because you're young that you are not able to do a documentary, that you are not able to be creative and do some stuff that a lot of people say, oh, you have to do a school or you have to do something like that.
And for anyone, you have the website right here, right now, walkingliminalitysquarespace.com. And also you can follow them on Instagram and on Facebook. And my question, is there any Camino on your list next? Because always, as we were saying, first the Camino de Santiago, the Via Francigena, what is going to happen next?
Wow.
I think the next one will be a bit shorter. I would really like to do the Via di Francesco. And
Oh,
yeah, and in the far future, a Camino in Japan who does all the coast of Japan.
oh, the Shikoku Trail?
Exactly.
In my list is the Kumano Kodo. Hopefully next year I will be walking the Kumano Kodo that, as you know, has a brotherhood with the Camino de Santiago. And if you
Okay.
walk both, you become a dual pilgrim. So they give you a specific certificate that
Oh,
has
wow.
a brotherhood between two pilgrimage. And the
So
Kumano Kodo is a little shorter than the Shikoku. The Shikoku you need a long time, and that's at least the
yeah.
big one. You need more time. But I heard it is beautiful.
Yeah.
And for sure, another Camino in Santiago.
For
That's
the
for
people.
sure. Always.
Oh,
Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Congratulations for your amazing project, and being so young and being to challenge and being to, tell the people and share the love and the stories of pilgrimage. I think it's incredible. And also because it's all about the people, that's what we're here for, the stories. And as you were saying, if someone listening to this, being 15, 18, 100, and it helps you to continue or helps them to go and walk around their house or go into a Camino, we will go to sleep happy. So thank you so much. As we always say, buen camino, ultrella.
Ultreya. And thanks to you. I think it's amazing what you do, and your approach is very cool as well. So thank you very much. We're super happy to be here.
Thank you to you, and thank you for being the first ones on the third season. And hopefully this will continue and we will keep growing. And maybe next time when my Italian is better and my French is better, we can, interview you in French anytime. But for now, we'll have to keep it only in English and Spanish.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
See you guys.
If you want, we're happy to exchange again.
Perfect. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye bye.